You're in my seat. That was the first thing Noah Bennett ever said to me. Not hello. Not excuse me. Just that, with one hand wrapped around a black coffee and rain still caught in his dark hair. I looked down at the cracked blue chair beneath me, then back at him. Pretty sure it belongs to the coffee shop. His mouth pulled into a smile. Small. Tired. Dangerous in a way I didn't understand yet. Fair point. He took the chair across from me instead. That should have been it. Two strangers sharing a table because Maple and Pine was packed on a Wednesday morning. Nothing important. Nothing worth remembering. Except I remembered all of it. The time, 7:31. The gray jacket he wore. The tiny scar near his chin. Even the way he tapped his thumb against the paper cup whenever his phone lit up. I pretended to work on my laptop while he scrolled through messages. Pretended I wasn't looking at his hands. I was a graphic designer. Noticing details was literally my job. That was my excuse, anyway. After a few minutes, he leaned forward. What are you drawing? My stomach tightened. I angled the screen away too quickly. Nothing. His eyebrows lifted. That looked defensive. Client work. Secret client work? Extremely classified. He laughed under his breath, and something in my chest shifted. Just slightly. Enough to annoy me. I'm Noah. He held out his hand. I stared at it for half a second too long before taking it. His grip was warm, steady. Ethan. Neither of us let go right away. It wasn't dramatic. Maybe 1 second. 2 at most. But I noticed. Of course I did. Noah glanced at our hands, then back at me. For a moment, the noise of the espresso machine seemed farther away. Then someone bumped his chair, and we both pulled back. Sorry, he murmured, though he hadn't done anything wrong. I looked at my laptop. It's fine. It meant nothing. A handshake. That was all. He finished his coffee while I moved random shapes around a design I'd already completed the night before. Every few minutes, I caught him looking toward my screen. Or maybe at me. I couldn't tell, and I wasn't going to make it weird by checking. At 7:48, his phone buzzed again. His expression changed immediately. The softness disappeared, replaced by something focused and serious. He stood, shoved the phone into his pocket, and pulled on his jacket. Hospital? I asked before I could stop myself. Noah paused. How'd you know? I nodded toward the badge clipped near his waist. Emergency department. Observant. Sometimes. He looked at me for another second, like there was something else he wanted to ask. Then he stepped away from the table. See you tomorrow, Ethan. I almost laughed. He said it like it was already decided. Like tomorrow morning belonged to both of us now. Maybe, I managed. Noah smiled again and walked out into the rain. I told myself he was only being polite. I told myself I'd probably never see him again. The next morning, I got to the coffee shop 10 minutes early. By 7:18 the next morning, I had already checked the door 6 times. Not because I was waiting for Noah. I was just distracted. That was what I told myself while pretending to read the same email over and over. Maple and Pine was quieter than the day before. Same cracked blue chair. Same table by the window. Same cold brew going warm beside my laptop. At 7:29, the bell over the door rang. My chest tightened before I even looked up. Noah stepped inside wearing a navy hoodie under his jacket, hospital badge still clipped near his waist. He scanned the room once, found me, and smiled like he had expected me to be there. You came back. I tried to sound casual. So did you. I had to make sure you did not steal my seat again. He walked over and dropped his backpack onto the chair across from me before heading to the counter. The gesture was so automatic that it took me a second to understand. He was saving the seat. For himself, obviously. Not for me. I was already sitting there. Still, something about it felt strangely familiar. Like we had been doing this longer than 2 mornings. Noah returned with 2 cups and a paper bag. He placed 1 cup beside my laptop. Cold brew. No cream. I stared at it. How did you know? He sat down, looking pleased with himself. You ordered it yesterday. You remembered that? You sound surprised. I was. More than I wanted him to know. I just thought hospital people had more important things to remember. We do. His eyes stayed on mine. Does not mean I forget everything else. The pause that followed felt too quiet. I looked down at the cup before my face gave me away. Noah opened the paper bag and pushed a blueberry muffin toward me. And before you say no, you did not eat anything yesterday. You were watching me? You sat 3 feet away from me for 20 minutes. He leaned back. It was not exactly detective work. I am not hungry in the morning. That sounds fake. It is not fake. Then take 1 bite and prove me wrong. I laughed despite myself. That makes no sense. Still waiting. I tore off a piece just to make him stop looking at me like that. Noah smiled and took a drink of coffee, clearly satisfied. We talked between emails and phone alerts. Nothing important. His night shift had been rough. My client wanted a logo change for the 5th time. He hated raisins. I hated phone calls. Somehow, those tiny facts felt more personal than they should have. When I reached for the muffin again, our fingers brushed over the paper bag. I pulled back immediately. Noah did not. His hand stayed there for a second, resting beside mine. His gaze dropped to our fingers, then lifted slowly to my face. You always this nervous? My throat went dry. I am not nervous. Right? The corner of his mouth moved. You just avoid eye contact for fun. Before I could come up with an answer, his phone buzzed. He checked the screen and stood with a quiet sigh. I have to go. He grabbed his backpack, then nodded toward the unfinished muffin. Eat the rest. You are weirdly controlling for someone I met yesterday. Noah pulled on his jacket. And you are bad at taking care of yourself for someone who claims to be observant. He started toward the door, then looked back. Same time tomorrow? I should have said maybe. Instead, I nodded. Noah smiled. Good. A minute later, my phone lit up with a message from an unknown number. You better finish that muffin. I stared at the screen, then at the empty chair across from me. He had never asked for my number, which meant he must have taken it from the contact card I had sent him for the podcast link the night before. I told myself the message was only a joke. Then I saved his number before replying. The first text came at 6:42 the next morning. Running late. Do not give my seat away. I stared at the message longer than necessary, then looked across the coffee shop at the empty chair with Noah's backpack usually hanging from it. I had arrived early again. Not for him. That lie was getting harder to believe. By 7:35, rain had started tapping against the windows. Maple and pine filled quickly, and a woman carrying a laptop pointed toward the chair across from me. Is anyone sitting here? I opened my mouth. Noah was late. The shop was crowded. I had no reasonable excuse to hold a seat for a man I had known less than a week. Yeah, I heard myself say. Someone is. She moved on. I looked down at my phone, annoyed with myself. At 7:43, the door finally opened. Noah stepped inside soaked through, his navy hoodie dark with rain and his hair dripping onto his forehead. He spotted me, then the empty chair. Something softened in his face. You saved it. You told me to. I was joking. Then I guess I misunderstood. He did not laugh. He just stood there looking at me for a second too long. No, he murmured. You did not. My pulse stumbled. Before I could ask what that meant, he dropped into the chair and rubbed both hands over his face. Up close, he looked exhausted. Not normal end-of-shift tired. Worse. You okay? Noah nodded automatically. Long night. That was not convincing. You always this nosy? Only when someone looks like they might fall asleep in their coffee. He smiled, but it faded fast. His hands were shaking slightly when he reached for the cup I had ordered for him. I noticed. Of course I did. You need food. I need 8 hours of sleep. You can have both. I pushed half of my breakfast sandwich across the table. Noah glanced at it, then at me. You hate sharing food. I froze. How do you know that? You complained yesterday when someone stole a fry from your plate. That was a serious boundary violation. A quiet laugh escaped him. Then his fingers closed around the sandwich wrapper, brushing mine. He did not pull away. Neither did I. The contact was barely there, but it held. Warm skin. Rain tapping the glass. His eyes lifting slowly to mine. My chest tightened. Ethan. The way he said my name made every thought disappear. Then the barista passed our table and grinned. You two are getting predictable. I pulled my hand back. We are not a thing. The words came out too quickly. Noah went still. The barista raised both hands. I meant your orders. Right. Heat climbed up my neck. Obviously. She walked away, trying not to smile. I stared at my laptop, wishing I could disappear into it. Noah stayed quiet. Too quiet. Sorry, I finally muttered. I did not mean, it is fine. His voice was calm, but his eyes had changed. More guarded. I hated that immediately. I just did not want her assuming. Why? The question was soft. Simple. Somehow worse than teasing. I looked at him. Noah held my gaze, waiting. My mouth went dry. Because I liked men. Because I liked him. Because the idea of someone seeing us together had not embarrassed me nearly as much as the possibility that Noah might. People assume things, I managed. Sometimes they are wrong. Noah looked down at the sandwich, then back at me. Sometimes they are not. My heart started pounding. His phone buzzed before I could answer. He checked it, sighed, and stood. I have to go back. At the door, he turned around. Text me tonight. About what? Noah's eyes stayed on mine. Anything. Then he left. At 11:18 that night, my phone lit up. Still awake? I answered before I could overthink it. Yeah. 3 dots appeared immediately. Good. I wanted to talk to you. Noah called instead of texting back. I stared at his name on my screen while my heart started pounding for no good reason. Then I answered. Hey. For a second, all I heard was quiet breathing and the faint hum of traffic. You sound nervous, he murmured. I am not nervous. You always say that. I leaned back against my couch, trying to act like this was normal. Like men I barely knew called me close to midnight just because they wanted to talk. So what did you want to talk about? Noah was quiet again. Too quiet. This morning. My chest tightened. The barista thing? Yeah. I picked at a loose thread on my sleeve. I already told you. I panicked. Because she thought we were together? Because she said it out loud. Another pause. That is not the same answer. I closed my eyes. He was right, which was annoying. What do you want me to say? The truth would be nice. His voice was soft, not accusing. Somehow that made it harder. I stood and started pacing my living room. I do not know what this is, Noah. The words slipped out before I could stop them. Silence. My stomach dropped. What is? He finally replied. This. You texting me. Saving seats. Bringing me coffee. Looking at me like. I stopped. Like what? My mouth went dry. Never mind. No. Finish. I walked to the window and stared at my reflection in the dark glass. Like you were waiting for me to figure something out. Noah exhaled slowly. Maybe I am. Every part of me went still. What does that mean? I do not know yet. I laughed once, but there was no humor in it. That is not helpful. I know. His voice dropped. Can I come over? I turned from the window. Right now? I am 10 minutes away. That should have felt strange. Instead, I looked around my apartment like I had been expecting him. Okay. He arrived wearing the same navy hoodie from that morning, hands shoved into the pockets. I opened the door, and for a second neither of us moved. Noah looked tired, but there was something else in his expression. Something focused. You really came. You said okay. That does not mean I thought you would. He stepped inside, close enough that his shoulder brushed mine. The contact was brief. Still, I felt it everywhere. We sat on opposite ends of the couch at first. Then Noah shifted closer. Not much, just enough that our knees touched. This time, neither of us pretended it was accidental. So, I whispered, what are we doing? His eyes held mine. Talking. This does not feel like talking. What does it feel like? My heart hit hard against my ribs. Noah's hand moved between us, palm open on the cushion. An invitation. Or maybe I imagined that. I looked down at it. Then slowly, I placed my hand beside his. Our fingers touched. He turned his hand, almost closing it around mine. Almost. His gaze dropped to my mouth for half a second. Mine did the same. The room went completely quiet. Noah leaned closer. I stopped breathing. He was near enough that I could feel the warmth of him, near enough that one small movement would change everything. Then his phone rang. Noah froze. His forehead nearly touched mine before he pulled back and checked the screen. The hospital. Of course. He stood too fast, running a hand through his hair. I have to go. I nodded, still trying to remember how to breathe. At the door, he looked back at me. Ethan. Yeah. His eyes stayed on mine. I was going to. My chest tightened. I know. Noah left without finishing the sentence. The problem was, neither of us needed him to. Noah did not text me the next morning. He did not have to. I still showed up at 7:20, ordered 2 coffees, and took our table by the window like nothing had happened. Like he had not almost kissed me on my couch 6 hours earlier. Like I had not replayed that moment until nearly 3 in the morning. At 7:34, the bell over the door rang. Noah walked in beside a woman wearing navy scrubs and a hospital jacket. She was pretty. Dark curls, bright smile, the kind of confidence that filled a room before she even spoke. Noah spotted me immediately. His expression softened, then changed so fast I almost thought I imagined it. Ethan, he called, lifting one hand. The woman followed his gaze. Oh, so this is Ethan. My stomach dropped. Noah looked at her. Rachel. What? She smiled like she had already figured out something I had not. You talk about him. I have mentioned him. Every morning. Noah's jaw tightened. Once or twice. Rachel slid into the chair across from him before I could move my bag. My chair. I hated that I thought of it that way. Noah stayed standing for a second, looking at the seat, then at me. You mind? Why would I? The answer came out sharper than I intended. I turned my laptop toward me and pretended to work. Rachel ordered a coffee, then started telling Noah about a doctor who had embarrassed himself during their shift. She touched his arm when she laughed. Noah laughed with her. Easy. Comfortable. I stared at the same design file until the colors stopped making sense. This was ridiculous. Rachel was probably a coworker. Maybe a friend. Maybe something else. Noah had never told me. He did not owe me an explanation. We were not a thing. I had made that painfully clear. Ethan, Noah's voice pulled me back. What? You have been clicking the same layer for 5 minutes. Rachel looked between us, amused. You two are weird. We are not anything. I said too quickly. Again. The smile disappeared from Noah's face. Rachel's expression shifted too, less playful now. I did not say you were. Heat climbed up my neck. Right? Sorry. Noah looked down at his coffee. The silence lasted just long enough to hurt. A few minutes later, Rachel stood. I am grabbing a table near the outlet. She touched Noah's shoulder as she passed, then leaned closer to him. Do not mess this up. She was not quiet enough. Noah watched her walk away, then sat across from me. His chair scraped softly against the floor. She is my coworker. I did not ask. You were staring at her like she stole your car. I was working. You were jealous. I let out a short laugh. You are imagining things. Noah leaned forward, lowering his voice. Am I? The question hit harder because of last night. Because I knew where his eyes had been. Because I knew what he had almost done. I closed my laptop. You showed up with someone else after nearly kissing me. His face went still. I got called back to the hospital. Rachel drove me home after the shift. That is all. Okay. And I did not nearly kiss you. My chest tightened. Noah held my gaze. I was going to kiss you. For 1 second, I forgot the entire coffee shop existed. Then Rachel called his name from across the room. Noah looked toward her, then back at me. Whatever courage had been there disappeared. I should go. Of course. He stood, grabbed his coffee, and hesitated. My family does not know about any of this. The words were so quiet I almost missed them. About what? His eyes dropped. Exactly. Then he walked away, leaving me with 2 coffees and the sudden understanding that wanting me was not the same as being ready for me. Noah did not come back the next morning. I sat at our table until my coffee went cold, watching the door every time the bell rang. By 8:10, I stopped pretending I was working. I sent one message. Are you okay? He read it almost immediately. No answer. That hurt more than it should have. So I packed my laptop, threw away the second coffee, and left. The next day, I did not go to Maple and Pine. It was petty. I knew that. But I could not keep sitting there like some idiot waiting for a man who had already warned me he was not ready. At 7:32, my phone buzzed. Where are you? I stared at the screen. Another message came 30 seconds later. Ethan? I typed 3 different replies and deleted all of them. Finally, I wrote, working from home. The typing bubble appeared, disappeared, then came back. Did I do something? I almost laughed. Instead, I set my phone face down and tried to focus. 10 minutes later, someone knocked on my apartment door. My stomach dropped before I even reached it. Noah stood in the hallway holding 2 coffees and the blueberry muffin I always pretended I did not want. You did not answer. His hair was still damp from the rain, and there were dark circles under his eyes. He looked like he had not slept. I answered. You avoided. There is a difference. He stepped closer, but not inside. Can I come in? I hesitated, then moved aside. Noah placed the coffees on my kitchen counter and stayed standing. The apartment felt smaller with him there. Quieter. I should not have left like that yesterday. His fingers tightened around the edge of the counter. No, you should not have. He nodded once, accepting it. Rachel told me I was being an idiot. She seemed smart. She also told me you looked hurt. I looked away. I was embarrassed. That is not the same thing. His voice softened. You keep doing that. Doing what? Making everything smaller so it cannot hurt you. The words landed too close. I crossed my arms. You told me your family does not know. What was I supposed to do with that? Noah looked down at the coffee between us. My dad is not exactly open-minded. My brothers follow his lead. I spent a long time making sure nobody had a reason to ask questions. And now, his eyes lifted slowly. Now I keep giving them reasons. My pulse kicked. He took a step toward me. I notice when you are late. I know which chair you will pick before you walk in. I know when you are pretending to work because your left hand stops moving. I swallowed. Noah kept going. Like if he stopped, he might lose his nerve. I went home last night and kept thinking about you sitting there after I left. I hated it. Hated what? That I made you feel like I was ashamed of you. The room went still. Are you? His face tightened. No, the answer came fast. Certain. He moved closer until there was barely a foot between us. I am scared. That is different. My chest felt tight. Scared of what? Of wanting something I cannot put back once I have it. His gaze dropped briefly to my mouth, then returned to my eyes. And I do want it. I stopped breathing. Noah reached for my hand slowly, giving me every chance to pull away. I did not. His fingers closed around mine. Warm. Steady. Last night on your couch was not a mistake, he murmured. I was not confused. His thumb moved once across my knuckles. I did not want to leave. I looked at our hands, then at him. So what happens now? Noah gave a quiet, nervous laugh. I have no idea. He squeezed my hand instead of letting go. But I do not want to go back to normal. For 3 days, Noah and I acted like we had crossed a line without deciding what it meant. He still came to Maple and Pine every morning. He still saved my chair when he arrived first. We still texted at night. But now his hand sometimes rested beside mine on the table, close enough that our fingers touched whenever one of us moved. Neither of us mentioned it. That was the problem. Everything felt different, but we kept pretending it was not. On Friday morning, Noah was quieter than usual. He checked the door twice, then looked over his shoulder when 2 men in hospital jackets walked in. His hand moved away from mine immediately. The reaction was small, fast, but I felt it. One of the men noticed him and lifted a hand. Bennett, you coming to your brother's thing Sunday? Noah straightened. Yeah, probably. The man glanced at me. Did not know you had company. This is Ethan. Noah paused. Just long enough. A friend. My chest tightened. Friend. It was not a lie. Somehow that made it worse. I gave the man a polite nod and stared at my coffee until they walked away. Noah exhaled slowly. Ethan, you do not have to explain. You are doing it again. Doing what? Making your voice sound calm when you are angry. I closed my laptop. I am not angry. Then look at me. I did. His expression had gone tense, almost guilty. You pulled your hand away like you got caught doing something wrong. Noah's jaw shifted. They work with my brother. Okay. My family does not know. I remember. I pushed my chair back. That does not mean I want to be your secret. His eyes widened. That is not what this is. Then what is it? The question hung between us. Noah looked down, and that was answer enough. I stood, grabbing my bag. I should go. His fingers closed around my wrist before I could step away. Not hard, just enough to stop me. Please. The word came out low. Do not leave like this. I looked at his hand, then at him. You told me you did not want to go back to normal. I do not. But you also do not want anyone to know. I am trying. I know. My voice softened despite myself. But I cannot be the place you come every morning and pretend does not exist the rest of the day. Noah let go slowly. Hurt moved across his face. Real hurt. For 1 second, I almost sat back down. Then his phone rang. He checked the screen and went pale. It is my sister. He answered immediately, turning away. Hey, slow down. His whole posture changed. Shoulders tight. Voice focused. What hospital? I froze. Noah grabbed his jacket with one hand while listening. I am coming. He ended the call and looked at me like the argument had disappeared beneath something bigger. My mom collapsed at home. What? My brother is taking her in. I have to go. I will drive you. Ethan, no. You are shaking. He looked down at his hands as if he had not noticed. For 1 second, pride fought fear across his face. Fear won. Okay. We left the coffee shop without another word. In the car, Noah called his brother, then Rachel, then the hospital. By the time we reached the emergency entrance, he had pulled himself back together, at least on the outside. He opened the door, then stopped. You do not have to stay. After everything that morning, I should have agreed. Instead, I looked at him. Do you want me to? Noah's eyes held mine. The answer was there before he spoke. Yes. So I parked the car and followed him inside. We sat in the hospital waiting room for almost 2 hours before Noah spoke to me again. His brother had gone upstairs with their mother. His sister was filling out forms at the front desk. Noah sat beside me with both hands locked together, elbows resting on his knees, staring at the floor like he could hold everything in place if he stayed still enough. I did not touch him, not at first. Then his right hand started shaking again. I reached over and covered it with mine. Noah looked down at our hands. He did not pull away. "You should go home," he murmured. "Do you want me to?" His jaw tightened. "That is not the point." "Then what is?" He looked toward the nurse's station, then at the hallway leading to the elevators. "Anywhere but me. My family is here." I noticed. "Ethan." No, my voice came out quieter than I expected, but it held. "You do not get to ask me to stay when you are scared, then act like I should disappear the second somebody might see me." His eyes snapped to mine. "I am not asking you to disappear. You called me a friend this morning. You are my friend. That is not all I am." The words landed between us. Noah went still. So did I. There it was. No joke. No coffee shop. No routine to hide behind. Just the truth sitting in a plastic hospital chair under terrible fluorescent lights. His fingers shifted beneath mine. "I know," he said finally. "Then say it." Noah let out a shaky breath and looked away again. "I do not know how." "Try." A long silence. His thumb moved across the side of my hand once, almost without thinking. "I wait for you," he murmured. "Every morning. Even when I am exhausted. Even when I have had the worst shift of my life. I walk into that place and look for you first." My chest tightened. Noah swallowed. "When you were not there yesterday, I thought I had ruined it. I thought you were done with me. I thought you were ashamed of me. I was ashamed of myself." He looked at me then. Really looked. For being scared. For wanting this and still acting like I did not. I squeezed his hand. "I do not need you to have everything figured out. It feels like you do. I need you to stop pretending I mean less than I do." That hit him. I saw it in the way his face softened and broke at the same time. Noah leaned back in the chair and closed his eyes for a second. "You mean too much. That is the problem." "That is not a problem. It is when I know what my dad will say. What my brothers might think. What happens if I lose them? And what happens if you keep pushing me away?" His eyes opened. The room seemed to go quiet around us. Noah turned toward me fully, our knees touching. "I lose you." "Yeah." His hand tightened around mine. "I do not want that." "Then stop making me guess." Noah nodded once. "Small. Certain." "Okay." I waited. He looked terrified. Then he lifted our joined hands and placed them on his knee, where anyone walking past could see. "I am not ready for everybody," he said. "But I am ready to stop lying to you." My throat tightened. "What are you saying?" Noah held my gaze. "I am saying I want this." His thumb brushed over my knuckles. "I want you. And I do not want to go back to pretending those mornings are just coffee." For a second, neither of us moved. Then I leaned closer until my forehead rested against his. Noah exhaled like he had been holding his breath for weeks. "Still here?" he whispered. I closed my eyes. "I am still here." Noah's mother was discharged 2 days later. She was tired, embarrassed by the attention, and determined to act like nothing serious had happened. Noah stayed with his family through the weekend, and I gave him space. Not because I wanted distance. Because for once, I trusted him to come back. Monday morning, I reached Maple and Pine at 7:18. Our table by the window was empty. I ordered 2 coffees, but I did not sit down. Instead, I waited outside beneath the awning while the city moved around me. Cars passed through wet streets. Someone hurried by with a dog pulling at its leash. The coffee warmed my hands. At 7:31, Noah appeared at the corner. He wore the gray jacket from the first morning we met, his dark hair still damp, his hospital badge clipped near his waist. He slowed when he saw me standing there. Then he smiled. Not the tired, careful smile he gave strangers. The real one. "You are outside." "Good observation. Our table is free." "I know." Noah stopped in front of me and looked through the window at the empty chairs. "You did not save it." I handed him his coffee. "I thought we could go somewhere." His eyebrows lifted. "Before 8 in the morning? Do not make me regret this." He laughed softly and took the cup. Our fingers brushed. This time, neither of us moved away. "Where are we going?" "There is a breakfast place 3 blocks over." "Is this a date?" My heart kicked hard, but I kept my voice steady. "Depends. Are you going to panic and call me your friend if someone recognizes you?" Noah's smile faded. For half a second, I wondered if I had pushed too hard. Then he shifted his coffee to his other hand and reached for mine. His fingers slid between mine. Warm. Certain. Right there on the sidewalk. I looked down at our hands, then back at him. "Someone might see." "Yeah." He glanced toward the coffee shop window. Rachel stood behind the counter with her drink, watching us with a grin. Noah noticed her too. His grip tightened instead of loosening. Rachel lifted her cup like a toast. I laughed. She is never going to let you live this down. Probably not. You okay with that? Noah looked at me for a long moment. I am getting there. It was not a perfect answer. That was why I believed it. We started walking. His shoulder bumped mine once, then stayed close. At the crosswalk, an older man from the hospital nodded at Noah from across the street. I felt Noah tense beside me. His hand shifted in mine. I expected him to let go. He did not. The light changed. We crossed together. At breakfast, Noah ordered too much food and pushed half his pancakes onto my plate without asking. I complained. He ignored me. Everything felt familiar. The coffee, the teasing, the way he noticed when I stopped eating because I was thinking too hard. But something had changed. We were not hiding behind a table anymore. When the server brought the check, she placed it between us. Together or separate? Noah looked at me. There was a pause, the kind that used to scare both of us. Then he reached for the check. Together. One word. Simple. Clear. I smiled and let him have it. We still went back to Maple and Pine most mornings after that. Sometimes I arrived first. Sometimes he did. The cracked blue chair stayed by the window, and one of us always saved it for the other. But I stopped thinking of those mornings as waiting. Waiting feels uncertain. Like the other person may never come. Noah always came back. And when he could not, he told me. That was the difference. I used to believe I had spent months waiting for him every morning. The truth was, he had been waiting for me too.